Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Elephant Sand, 60 kilometers north of Nata in Zimbabwe. My name is James Henry, and flying the drone will be me. But just making sure I don't crash into anything or do anything stupid, we've got Michael there, who's got a very fine pair of legs. That's him there. And we don't know who Miss Sally is. And I think without further ado, we'll take off. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who joined us on the last trip, you'll understand what's going on here. For those of you who didn't, I'll just hover here quickly and do a little swing around as I explain what's going on. Basically, I am flying this drone remotely from home in Johannesburg via a quite astonishing internet connection, which many of you will have the capability to do yourselves. And the idea here is that you see and understand exactly what it is that I'm doing so that you can do the same for yourself. And you can book yourself a flight with natureeye.com and use the promo coupon Wild Earth Fly, and that'll get you $10 off your first flight. And you can do this literally from anywhere in the world. There are 3 African locations and various other locations around the world where you can fly a drone, explore, and enjoy. Now, Michael is a Botswana resident. He works here at Elephant Sands, and we're just going to basically ask him to tell us which direction to fly in, I suppose, because I don't know this area at all. You can see it's extremely flat in comparison with where we flew at Antioch the other day. And so we'll go and see what we can find. Michael, you said there's 2 roads going off. I suppose.
Yeah, so it's in the north direction.
Yeah, in the northerly direction. We'll head off up there. Apparently there's a waterhole there, so I'll turn around that way. I'll just flick the camera down very slightly, like that direction.
Yeah. So in this general direction. So okay. I actually did see some elephants to the left-hand side.
Right.
And a giraffe as well. Yeah.
Elephants to the left and a giraffe, which will be nice. Okay, cool. So we're on our way. Now, this is just north of Nata, which is in the kind of, I guess, we could say the Makgadikgadi region of Botswana. It's quite a long way north of that. But it's very flat, Kalahari sands. And Michael, I suppose very seldom does it look anything like as green as this.
Yeah, so it wasn't as this green start of December last year. So we did have a bit of a drought this year.
Okay.
But luckily we got some rain.
Right. And you say it's 40 degrees Celsius there?
Yeah, approximately around 40 degrees at the moment.
So 40 degrees, for those of you operating in the 18th century, is around about 102 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, maybe just above that. So Michael is cooking here in northern Botswana. We'll just go and see if we can find some elephants here. This is a traditionally big 5 reserve, I suppose. And I think your chances of seeing a leopard here are probably relatively little, but you'll see lots and lots of elephants there. Is that an elephant? No, it's not. I don't think it's an elephant. It's a termite mound. And some general game, and I think waterholes on a day like today are probably the spot to be. Is that the waterhole there up in front of us?
Yes, on the right-hand side. You can see like an open patch there.
We'll head over there, and then we'll do a bit of a loop around. I'm just going to gain some height to make sure that we are not too close if there is an animal close by. And again, if you joined us yesterday morning, are there some animals there?
Yeah, it looks like there's an elephant at the watering hole.
Pretty good. In case you didn't join us, or if you did join us the other day, or if you didn't join us the other day, should I say, I just explained that obviously we're trying to be as sensitive as possible with the drone. You don't want to chase animals. But I do think it's something that we need to get familiar with, because drones actually, in my opinion, are a far less intrusive way to view wildlife than smashing after them in a large Land Cruiser or Land Rover. Right, there we've got an elephant. Magnificent. Now, if I just double click in the middle there we are. Now we can zoom on him. There we are. Look at that. There he is. He's enjoying the mud. Now we should probably take a picture of him. Unbelievable. Send that to the Tate Modern, I think. Oh, and there's an elephant carcass. Michael, any idea how that poor chap died? Drought?
So yeah, like I said earlier, we had quite a big drought this year. The vegetation was very, very low before the rains came. So this is just one of many in this area that we see. Yeah.
Okay. It's quite difficult to move this smoothly. So we'll try and ignore the carcass there. I'll tell you what I am interested to do while we're looking here. I just want to have a quick look with the thermal lens, which we can do. And I think what's important to note here is that that's a different camera we're looking at, but it's so hot that you actually can't see the mammal's heat signature.
Yeah, so the ground's pretty much hotter than the animal at the moment.
The ground is hotter than the animal. He's enjoying a bit of water and some mud. It's magnificent. And is that some what are we hearing in the background there? Are those sociable weavers? I mean,
I think so. So I'm here around a few trees and there's just bird nests everywhere.
Okay. Cool. Let's see if he has a little bit of a swim. I'll just zoom out again and then we'll do a little bit of an orbital move around him. There we go. And I like to do sort of these extreme zooms, because what tends to happen is that if you don't, the picture degrades a little bit. So when we want to look at, there are two lenses on the drone, and one of them is sort of about 10 times zoom and one of them is this. And they give you pin sharp, beautiful pictures. Magical. What's really nice also, I think, is that this elephant is not reacting to us in the slightest. We're 103 meters up. That's about 330 feet. And everything's fine. Yeah, Elizabeth, you say sad, poor elephant. Yeah, it is sad, but it's totally normal. It's sadly, that is life in the wild out here, I'm afraid. And it is to be expected. Let's go back a little bit. There we go. Nice. So he's obviously given up on his waterhole now. Let's see if we can get above him and then zoom on him. We're not going to go any closer. I'm just moving the camera. Just give you a different view of him. That's quite fun. I think it's important to make note of the fact that it might look like a fairly simple thing. Flying it is simple. You don't have to be some sort of genius on your computer or with video games or anything else like that. He's putting sand on himself now. What is utterly remarkable about this, of course, is that this is a long way from Johannesburg. This is in Botswana. And we are broadcasting and I'm controlling this thing with almost no latency from Johannesburg, which I think is astounding. Now he's just covering himself in a bit of sand and muck, and people will tell you that elephants do this because it helps them with parasites. I've yet to read anything particularly scientific that says that's true. I just think that they think it feels nice, actually. Look at that. You make great photographs when it's like that. Yeah, Puma, you make a very good point there. You say, look at all the game paths leading to the water. Loads and loads of them. If I zoom out now, you'll see them. Yeah, look at that. That's a really good point. That's a very cool elephant sighting. There's the carcass you can see. And we'll just have a look. I'm not being macabre. I'm not trying to revel in this, but it is just quite interesting. And this poor elephant popped his clogs. Where has he gone? Let me zoom out slightly again. Poor elephant popped his clogs after a prolonged drought. And it's just interesting to see how much of him's been eaten and what has been eaten. And you can see, obviously, his skin is extremely tough. Not much is going to have a go at that, but there's, oh, sorry, I've got to get used to flying with the zoom quite like that. But his flesh has been eaten out by, I'm sure, lions and hyenas and jackals, and probably vultures as well. There we go. Poor chap. Well, rest in peace there in Botswana. I think it's probably time we went somewhere else. Michael, where would do you have any suggestions for a spot to go next?
So we can make like a loop if you go straight here.
Okay.
We can make a loop and then we can go to another watering hole.
Cool.
It's in the direction of the giraffe that I saw earlier.
Okay, perfect. So we're going now, if you look at your screen, everybody, in the top right-hand side, you can see we're heading in a southwesterly direction. That's the other thing, is it's really easy to navigate because it basically tells you absolutely everything. There's no requirement for sophisticated map reading. Jenny Hukumuri, you say it's fascinating to see. You don't think it's macabre? No, quite so. Maureen Chappelle. Hello, James. So good to see you. It's wonderful to have found the stream. Oh, Maureen, we're glad you found it. Remember that you can do this yourself. You don't have to watch me doing it. You can do it yourself. Like I say, it really is not hard. Mindy, what are the restrictions in terms of how close the drone can get? Well, I mean, they're self-imposed restrictions. So we'll try, I mean, the short answer is that we'll only get as close as, we'll get as close as we can without the animal reacting. And I think that's important to know. And we need to kind of, guys like Michael will be testing that sort of thing all the time and trying to figure out exactly, exactly what the limits are. But basically, once the animal has reacted, you got too close. Is that a giraffe or a tree? I think it's a tree. It's different.
So yeah, James, you'll see there's a road there on your left-hand side.
Yes.
We can sort of just fly along that road to the eastern direction.
All right, so I need to get onto the road and turn east. So we've come down a little bit.
So it's actually to the left-hand side.
To the
sorry.
west. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes, I'm not paying attention. So we're going east because we're heading south. Right, thank you. Sorry about that, Michael. That was a very patient way of telling me I'm being an idiot. Well done. Sir 50 says it's such a unique way to visit one of these marvelous reserves. It certainly is. Absolutely unique way. Mindy, that's a nice question for Michael. What's the cruising speed of the drone, Michael?
So it's about 13 kilometers per hour.
13 kilometers.
I'm not sure what that is in miles.
In miles, that's about 8 miles an hour. So it's not exactly going hugely fast. What's the fastest you could make it go?
So it's at the moment how you're flying, it is the fastest.
Okay. And if you were not on these remote controls, you could, with your controls, you could make it go faster, couldn't you? Or not?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the top speed.
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking it was supersonic. Okay, let's see if we've got any more comments here while we go to the next waterhole. What are the points of interest for this location? Waterholes mainly, Jenny Hukamori. If I click on points of interest, you'll see the leopard watering hole, the Pabalinga watering hole, and the Eco Lodge watering hole. And Michael has reconnoitered these spots, so that's why I'm depending on him. But we don't have to. We don't have to. We wouldn't have to depend on him if we didn't want to, but we'd be stupid not to. Mindy, you say you have to be mindful of battery life in terms of how far you can go. Absolutely, you do. But there are two things to notice here. First is at the top of the screen there where I'm pointing with my mouse. Sorry, you won't see that there where I'm pointing with my mouse now. That's the battery. That's the battery measure. So once that hits that little exclamation mark, it's going to go home on its own. And the second thing to note is that this flight is what we call geo-fenced, which means that I wouldn't be able to fly it out of the zone that we're allowed to fly in.
So sorry to interrupt, James. I think I just saw an elephant under the tree that we just flew past.
Our picture's breaking up slightly, so I missed that. But let's go. Where do you want me to?
So I think if you just tilt the camera down, it's standing under quite a big tree.
Sorry, everybody. We're just getting a little bit of picture breakup there. Should go now.
So I think it's a bit more back or to the left as well.
Back and to the left.
There it is, in the top left of your screen.
Top left of my screen. Well, Michael, how far top left? Oh,
so it's coming into picture now.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a great spot. Well done. I'll just put him in the middle there. I'll just click in again. There we go, and we can zoom. There he is. Look at him having a little sleep there. Oh. Now, this is a very common thing to see. An elephant dozing as the afternoon progresses. Oops, sorry about this. Just move slightly. Oh, I do apologize. Let me zoom out again. You see, this is why you need a bit of practice and skill like Michael's got. There we go. I'm going to try and get above him. I'll go a bit higher as well. And now we'll just tilt the camera down. So we're now 116 meters up, which is very high. And I suspect that we're probably getting to the time of the day that this guy has thought to himself, you know what, I've been sleeping for long enough. Let's see if I can't get something to drink or a snack. And he's jumping onto one of those game paths. Michael, do you think he's in front of us? There he is. There he is. Flapping his ears continuously, trying to stay cool, and he's found a little bit of bush that he'd quite like to eat. And just again, in case you're worried about the effect that the drone might be having, you can see he's totally relaxed. He's not reacting to the drone in the slightest. Sally, yes, you see they offer a guide when flying. Is it better to have a guide versus not having one on your flights? Now, you have to have a guide, Sally. So you'd get a Michael on your flight, and Michael would just help you, but just like he's helping me. So I'd say to him, or you'd say to your guide, well, what have you seen today? And Michael would say to you, well, I've seen elephants at this waterhole. Should we go there? And you'd say yes, and then he'd direct you. So yeah, I wouldn't advise trying to fly around these areas without a guide. Simply, well, you're not allowed to, but simply because they know the area, they know what's going on, so they'll be able to take you to interesting spots and hopefully to where the animals are. Good question. just trying to keep this chap in picture. Some butterflies there that he is lifting up. Right, this drone is going to return home and not too long from now, so just bear that in mind. That's a really cool shot. Oh, let me take a picture. Just going to put it on 8 times and see the sharpness. Yeah, probably slightly better. Cool. Oops. All right, we don't have too much time left before we run out of battery. I'm just going to zoom all the way out. There we go. That's a nice shot of him moving. And we'll get back a little bit. We'll tilt the camera up. And we will attempt the last bit of the battery, a small orbital. There we go. Nice. These orbital shots are quite tricky if you're not particularly competent at this sort of thing like me, because you've got to use 3 different controls: back, sideways, and turn. All right, I'm afraid the drone is now returning to home. You can see my controls are currently disabled. Right, so as it goes, I'll get some, take your comments. Are the screenshots sent to you or automatically arrive on the device you're using? Jacqueline, if you would book your flight, Michael will process these shots and then send them to you. Elizabeth Beauchamp, you say, thank you, James and Michael. Very exciting way to view the landscape and the animals. It sure is. It's a wonderful way of doing it. That's a beautiful road, you say. Well, it's certainly a road in a beautiful place. My understanding of the aesthetics of civil engineering, I'm afraid, are too poor for me to comment on that. Arba, thank you for that. Christy, you say perspective's unreal. It sure is. This is amazing. Glad you stumbled across it. Well, I'm glad you stumbled across it too. Maureen, you want to know if my daughter has the same love of animals as I do? I don't know yet. She's too young. I'm hoping so. They definitely need more water pans. No, Elizabeth Beauchamp, they don't. They've got plenty of water pans here. And many a game reserve has made the cardinal error of creating far too many water holes where there weren't any before. Elke, is this the Okavango Delta? No, Elke, this is some distance from the Okavango Delta, same country, but a long way to the south and east of the Okavango Delta. All right, everyone, we've landed. If you would like to ever do this yourself, please go to natureeye.com, stick in the promo coupon Wild Earth Fly, and you'll get a $10 discount. It's a magnificent way to experience different parts of not only Africa, but the whole world. There are drones around the world, 3 in Africa, and various others around the place. So you can do that at natureeye.com and put in the Wild Earth Fly coupon for a discount. Right, we will say goodbye to Michael. Michael, thank you very much. Very fine view of your fine legs there, and Miss Sally. The mystery of who Miss Sally is will remain with us forever. Bye-bye.